Okay, so
Okay.
let me pull up my notes. So it says here that we are at stage 11, paragraph page 969, and our last headword was put off new work type of lesson. Okay, so let's start with our revision. Okay, here
Sure.
we go. 965. Okay, first question. Which aspect of your job do you like the most? Which aspect of your job do you like the most? The aspect
The
of my
aspect
job
of my
I
job
like the
I
most
I put the most
is
is is that I can contribute to the society through my project.
very good. Would you say you were good at carrying out instructions with great efficiency, or do you have a tendency to take too long getting things done? Would you say you were good at carrying out instructions with great efficiency, or do you have a tendency to take too long getting things done? Yes or no?
Yes,
I'd say I was
I'd
good at
say I was
carrying out
good at carrying out
instructions with
instructions
great
with
efficiency.
great efficiency.
Very good. Do you prefer to travel by land, by sea, or by air? Do you prefer to travel by land, by sea, or by air? I prefer to travel
I prefer to
by.
travel by land
Why? Why? Because.
because I work for an railway company,
Mhm.
and uh, I love to travel by train.
Yeah, especially bullet train, right? Okay.
Right,
Very good.
right.
If you were a teacher and saw one of your students gazing out of the window during a lesson, would you assume they were not paying attention? If you were a teacher and saw one of your students gazing out of the window during a lesson, would you assume they were not paying attention? Yes or no?
Yes,
If I were a
if I
teacher
were a
and
teacher,
saw
and
one of my
and so
students
one of my students
gazing out of the
gazing
window
out of the
during
window
a lesson,
during
I
a
would
lesson,
assume
I
they
would
were not
assume
paying
they were
attention.
not paying attention.
Very good. When we're describing films, what do we mean by a thriller? When we're describing films, what do we mean by a thriller? When we're describing
We are
films
describing
by a
films
thriller,
by a
we mean
thriller.
a film
We mean
with
a
an
film
exciting
with
story, with an
with
exciting
an
story,
exciting story,
full of mystery
full of
and
mystery
suspense.
and suspense.
Very good. Do you think the work of a spy would be mostly thrilling or often tedious? Do you think the work of a spy would be mostly thrilling or often tedious? I think the
I
work
think
of a spy
the work of a spy
would be
would be often tedious.
very good. Which famous person would you be most thrilled to meet? Which famous person would you be most thrilled to meet? I'd be most thrilled
I'd be
to
most
meet.
I'd be most
Thrilled
thrilled to
to meet.
meet
Who?
the Indian Prime Minister Modi.
Oh, very good. Have you ever had a nickname? Have you ever had a nickname? Yes or no?
Yes,
I
I have had a nickname,
what? What's your nickname? My
Kuma.
nicknames.
My nickname is Kuma,
Very good. How?
Kuma.
Yeah, how did you get that nickname? How did you get that nickname? I got that
I've got
nickname
that nickname
because
because my surname is Kumamoto.
very good. Okay, next. Do some buses in your town run more frequently on weekdays than at weekends? Do some buses in your town run more frequently on weekdays than at weekends? Yes or no?
Yes,
Some buses
some
in my
buses
town
in my
run
town
more frequently,
run
run
more
on
frequently
weekdays
on
than at
weekdays
weekends.
than at weekends.
Very good. Do you like to be surprised by friends dropping in for a chat, or do you prefer them to give you a ring to let you know they're coming? Do you do you like to be surprised by friends dropping in for a chat, or do you prefer them to give you a ring to let you know they're coming? Yes or no?
No,
I don't like to be
I don't
surprised
like to be
by
surprised
friends dropping
by
in
friend
for a chat. By
for
friends dropping
by
in
friend dropping in
for a
by
chat.
for a
I
chat.
prefer them
I
to
prefer
give me a
them
ring
to give me
to
a
let me
ring
know they're
to
coming.
let me know they are coming.
Very good. At a hotel, how can you tell the difference between holiday makers and those who are there on business? At a hotel, how can you tell the difference between holiday makers and those who are there on business? At a hotel,
At the
you
hotel,
can tell the
you
difference
can tell the
between
difference
holiday
between
makers
holiday
and
makers
those who are
and
there
those
on
who are
business
there
by
on business by their clothes.
very good. What tip would you offer a holiday maker who was visiting your country for the first time? What tip would you offer a holiday maker who was visiting your country for the first time? The tip I'd
The
offer
tip
a
I'd
holiday
offer
maker
a
who
holiday
was
maker
visiting my
uh,
country,
who,
who
who,
was
who, who was visiting
visiting my country
my
for
country
the
for the
first
first
time would
time
be
would be
hmm,
to travel along Golden Coast.
Golden Coast.
By the Golden Coast, we mean from Tokyo
Uh-huh.
from
Two.
Tokyo to Kyoto.
Oh.
Uh, so on the way, they can looking at to the Mount Fuji and
Ah.
then Kyoto
Kyoto. By train. That's by train.
by train, of course.
Very good. Okay, next. Do you get irritable if you go without food for a long time? Do you get irritable if you go without food for a long time? Yes or no?
No,
I don't get
I don't
irritable
get
if
irritable
I go without food for a
if I
long
go
time.
without a food for a long time.
Very good. What do we use sacks for? What do we use sacks for? We use
We
sacks
use
for
sacks
transporting
for
and storing things
transporting and storing
like
things
vegetables,
like
especially
vegetables,
potatoes.
especially potatoes.
What does the expression to get the sack mean? What does the expression to get the sack mean? The expression
The
to get
expression
the sack
to
means
get to the sack
to be
means
dismissed
to be
from
dismissed
employment.
from employment.
Regan, how would you react if you were unfairly fired from a job you like, especially if there was mass unemployment at the time? How would you react if you were unfairly fired from a job you like, especially if there were mass unemployment at the time? If I were
If I
unfairly
were
fired
unfairly
from a
fired
job I like,
from a job
I'd
I
react
liked,
by,
I'd react by consulting a good lawyer,
especially if there
especially
were
if
mass
there are
unemployment
mass
at the
unemployment
time.
at the time.
Very good. What's the deadline? What's a deadline? A deadline is a
Deadline
time or
is
date
a time or a
before
date
which
before
something
which
has to be finished.
something has to be finished.
Very good. Give me an example. Give me an example, please. Our boss
Our
has
boss,
moved the deadline back. Our
uh,
boss has
our
moved,
boss,
has moved
okay. Our boss has moved
the deadline back.
the deadline back,
So we've got
so we've
an
got
extra
an
week
extra
to
week
get everything done.
to get everything done.
Very good. What can we say instead of suddenly? What can we say instead of suddenly? We can say
We
all
can
at
say
once
all at
instead
once
of
instead
suddenly.
of suddenly.
Give me an example. Give me an example, please. We just got to
We
the
just
beach
got
when
to the beach
all at once
when all at once
it began to pour
it
down.
began to
Pour
pour
down.
down.
Very good. Why is it important to ensure that the air in a classroom doesn't become stale? Why is it important to ensure that the air in the classroom doesn't become stale? It's important
It's
to
important
ensure that
to
the
ensure
air in
that
a
the
classroom
air in a
doesn't
classroom
become stale
doesn't become
because
stale
stale air
because stale
lacks
air
oxygen,
lacks
which
oxygen,
is essential
which is
for the
essential
brain to
for
work
the brain to
properly.
work properly.
Very good. What do we call the mark left on our skin after a wound has healed? What do we call the mark left on our skin after a wound has healed? We call the
We
mark
call the
left
mark
on our
left
skin
on our skin
after a wound has
after
healed.
a wound,
A scar
after
has
a
healed,
wound, uh,
has healed, like heal, past tense of heal, has healed.
he
A
has
scar,
feel. After
a wound has healed.
a wound has healed,
A scar.
a scar.
Well, I get one more. We call the mark
We call the
left
mark
on our
left
skin
on our skin
after a wound
after
has
a
healed.
wound has
A
healed,
scar.
a scar.
Very good. How can parents prevent their young children from getting at medicine bottles or containers with chemicals in them? How can parents prevent their young children from getting at medicine bottles or containers with chemicals in them? Parents can prevent
Parents can
their
prevent
young children
their young
from
children
getting at
from
medicine
getting
bottles,
getting at
medicine
medicine uh,
bottles
getting at medicine
or
bottles or
containers with
containers
chemicals in
with
them
chemicals
by
in them
storing them
by
on
storing
high
them
shelves
on high
or
shelves
in lock
or
cupboards.
in
Lock
lock cupboard.
cupboards. Very good. Do your parents have any grandchildren? Do your parents have any grandchildren? Yes. Yes or no?
Yes,
My parents have
my parents
grandchildren.
have grandchildren.
Very good. If someone feels constantly depressed, can the doctor prescribe medicine to help relieve the depression? Okay. If someone feels constantly depressed, can the doctor prescribe medicine to help relieve the depression? Yes. If
Yes,
someone
if
feels
someone feel
constantly depressed,
constantly depressed,
their doctor
their
can
doctor
prescribe medicine
can prescribe
to help
medicine
relieve
to
the
help
depression.
relieve their depression.
Very good. Why do people's minds sometimes go blank when they're trying to answer a question in a job interview? Why do people's minds sometimes go blank when they're trying to answer a question in a job interview? People's minds
People's
sometimes
people's minds
go
sometimes
blank when
go
they're
blank
trying to
when
answer they're
they are
trying
trying to answer
a question in a
a
job
question in
interview
a job interview
because they feel stressed.
because they
Stressed.
feel stressed.
Very good. Do you believe in the saying, never put off until tomorrow that which you can do today? Do you believe in the saying, never put off until tomorrow that which you can do today? Yes or no?
Yes,
I believe in the
believe
saying,
in the saying.
never put off
Never, never,
until, never
never
put
put
off
off,
until
off
tomorrow
until
that
tomorrow.
which
That
you
which
can do today.
you can do today,
Why? Why do you believe in that? Because?
because if we put off what we can do today,
Mhm.
we 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 might we might not meet the deadline.
That's correct. And you will have a lot of things to do the next day. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you be put off going to a restaurant with a good reputation if a friend told you they'd recently had an awful meal there? Would you be put off going to a restaurant with a good reputation if a friend told you they'd recently had an awful meal there? Yes or no?
Yes.
I'd be put off
I'd be
going
put off
going
going
to a restaurant
to a
with
restaurant
a good reputation
with a good
if a
reputation.
friend told
If
me
a friend go,
they'd if a
if
friend
a friend
told me
told me
they'd recently
they
had
they they
recently
they recently had
had an awful meal there.
an awful meal there.
Very good. One more. Yes, I'd be
Yes,
put off going
I'd be put off
to a
going
restaurant
to a
with
restaurant
a good reputation
with a good
if
reputation.
a friend told me
If a friend told me
they'd recently
they
had
do they
very good.
they'd
They'd
recently
recently
had
had an awful meal there.
an awful meal there.
Very good. And that's the end of our revision. Let's have new work.
Sorry to
Mm-hmm.
interrupt you. So the last question,
Uh-huh.
you said put off going to a restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
which means my understanding is that means they don't want to go to a restaurant, right?
Exactly. That's perfect. So you'll be put off. You'll be turned down. You don't like to go there anymore. You will
Okay,
lose
thank you.
interest. Put off.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Very good. Okay. So let's start new work. Okay. Repeat. Elementary.
Elementary.
Very good. Okay. Listen. Elementary is an adjective. By
Mhm.
an elementary rule, we mean rules that are basic and simple. So, for example, it's easy to play football if you know its elementary rules. So the word elementary here is used as an adjective. Elementary as a noun is also the level of school, elementary, high school, and university. Okay, but this one is adjective. Okay, let's practice. Name a sport for which the rules are fairly elementary. Name a sport for which the rules are fairly elementary. Football is a sport
Football is a
for
sport
which
for which
the
the
rules
rule
are fairly
are
elementary.
fairly elementary.
Yeah, so it means also easy. Rules
Mm.
are easy. Next,
Okay.
fee,
Hmm?
fee, like
Fee,
tuition
fee,
fee.
fee,
Absurd.
fee. Okay. Absurd.
Very good. Okay, listen. The word fee is a noun. It means an amount of money that must be paid. For example, the transportation fee in the place where I live is cheap. Oh, exact. That's exact. It's expensive. For example, painter, painters, international performers, etc., are well known for charging absurdly high fees for the work they do. Let's
Mhm.
practice. What kind of people are well known for charging absurdly high fees for the work they do? What kind of people are well known for charging absurdly high fees for the work they do? International performers,
International performers,
painters, lawyers
painters,
are well
lawyers
known
are well
for
known
charging
for
absurdly
charging
high fees.
absolutely high
No,
fee,
absurdly high fees
absurd high fee
for the work they do.
for the what they do.
Very good. Okay, next repeat. Genuine or
Hmm?
genuine.
Genuine,
Uh-huh. Fake.
fake,
Assure.
assure,
Certificate.
certificate.
Very good. Okay, listen. Genuine is an adjective. It means actual, real, or true, not false. For example, they found genuine pearls under the sea. Fake is an adjective. It means not true or real, like a copy. For example, when buying expensive gold earrings, we have to be sure that they aren't fake. Assure is a verb. It means to make something certain. For example, I can assure you that these earrings I'm wearing are genuine silver. Certificate is a noun. It is a document that is official, an official proof that something has happened or something is real. For example, when buying an expensive painting or other work of art, we can assure ourselves that it is genuine and not fake by asking to see a certificate, getting a second opinion from an expert, etc. Let's practice. When buying an expensive painting or other work of art, how can you assure yourself that it's genuine and not fake? When buying an expensive painting or other work of art, how can you assure yourself that it's genuine and not fake? When buying
When
an
buying
expensive
an
painting
expensive
or
painting
other work
or
of art,
other
of
work
art,
of art,
I can assure
I
myself
can assure
that
I can assure right
myself
myself I
that
can assure myself
it
that
is genuine
it is genuine,
and not
not
fake
and not
by
fake,
asking to see
by
a
asking to
certificate,
see a certificate
getting a second opinion
or getting a second opinion
from an expert, etc.
from an expert, etc.
Very good. Okay, let's have the last part. Okay, next repeat. Emphasis. Okay, so here we go.
Emphasis,
So let's talk about emphasis.
emphasis,
It
emphasis.
consists of inversion after negative or limiting adverbials. Okay, very good. So it's a long one. Okay, so let's talk about that. Listen, some examples of negative adverbials are not only no sooner, never, by no means, and under no circumstances. Some examples of limiting adverbials are rarely, hardly, barely, and little. So it limits. Sometimes we put adverbials like this at the start of the sentence in order to emphasize their meaning. When we do this, we need to use an inversion, or in other words, we use the same form and word order as we would use in questions, even though we are not asking a question. So we make it like a question form. For example, instead of saying, I have never met such a rude man, I have never met such a rude man, we can emphasize the idea of the word never by saying, never have I met such a rude man. Okay, but this is quite very formal. Okay, so notice, even though this sentence is not a question, we say, have I met, rather than I have met. Another examples of inversion is, hardly had I walked into my office when the phone started ringing. This means that the phone started ringing immediately after I walked into my office. Okay, let's practice. I'm going to give you three words and I want you to make a sentence starting with those words, okay? Here we go.
Okay.
Let's start with not only, not only, not only can she speak French. Not only, okay, repeat. Not only
Not only
can she speak
can
French,
she speak
but she
French,
can also
but she can
speak
also
German.
speak German.
Very good. Okay, so now let's move on to reading.
Okay.
Very good. So our reading starts at stage 11, paragraph page 951. And our last headword is not by any means. Okay, please start at headword handout, handouts, give out, leaflet,
Okay.
passerby.
Okay. Handout, handout, handout. Give